Hello, this is Kathy from the Daily Marker. How are you today? I want to show you how I created this card with these gorgeous stamps from Power Poppy. And I did some watercoloring with some zig markers. So I just want to show you how I topped it off with some details too. Now this is the beautiful sunflower, and I want to make this more of a focal image. So I'm stamping it twice. Now I've masked off the first flower, and then I used some post-it papers so I don't have to, just so those other areas on that second stamping don't stamp, since there's nothing really to mask off, if that makes sense. So now I have a Sharpie fine tip marker, and I'm just drawing that stem on there. It's super easy. Don't be intimidated by adding a stem. And now I'm just adding a little element. I stamped the sentiment and the little bumblebee from another Power Poppy stamp set, and I just removed that mask. Now I need to extend the stamp on this sunflower, and like I said, it's super easy. Just take your time, and you can go over the lines again. You can watercolor it and then decide if you want them thicker, but you can use the stamp as your guideline. Now, in this illustration, there's like some little dashes and some little baby prickles on the side of the stem. So I'm not worrying if it matches, but I'm just adding a little bit of those dashes. Okay, so I'm going to watercolor the background here. I'm using two different distress inks, Stormy Sky and Peacock Feathers, and I'm just using a lot of water. I just want more of a wash. So I've watered down some of that distress ink. I just swipe at my palette and add water, and I'm just moving that water, that wash around my image. Now I've stamped this image with some VersaFine. It's a pigment ink and it works great with watercolor. The only thing is it takes a little bit longer to dry. So sometimes I'll take a paper towel and lay it on top to dab up any excess, or I'll heat set it. Just something good to know. Give it a little bit time to dry. And the butterflies, they're from Ariel, and I sure hope they're current, but I would bet that you have a butterfly somewhere in your stash. So check it out. And I did get their permission to add some butterflies on my card here. So I'm just finishing up this wash. I'm going to speed it up. As you know, in my videos, I like to kind of start out slow and then speed it up when I don't think it's really important or necessary. I'm just adding a little bit more of that wash on here, so it's going a little bit faster. And once I'm done with my watercoloring, usually I'll leave, either go, depending on what I'm doing, I'll go take a shower, make lunch, make dinner, whatever. And then I come back and it's dry. Or you could heat set it. Now I'm going to take some Stormy Sky. You can kind of see that the wash is just one color, and I think that makes it look a little bit flat. So I'm swiping some Stormy Sky in there. You can use any color that you have, and just washing more in the top corners to bring your eyes in. Just a little bit of a variation of the wash in those top corners coming on down. Super easy. Now I've picked up some zig markers. I'm just testing this color here. They blend beautifully on this Tim Holtz watercolor paper. I'm finding and learning with zigs that the more space you have to blend, the better it looks. Like that swatch I did, like when I took the paintbrush, I could just swipe it down and then the color is more gradient. On these small petals, you don't necessarily get that same look, but that's okay. Zig watercolor markers are fabulous to travel with. Anyway, besides that, I'm just moving around. I'm first coloring a portion of the petal with this marker, and it's kind of a mustard yellow. and then watering it down a little bit. Now I've moved on to my stem. I'm just giving it no water, just a solid color of green. And now I'm going on the side of that stem and adding a little bit of an orangey brown. Kind of like a Copic, I'm just putting down that one color and then adding. Now I'm testing the colors that I want to use on the center of the flower. And this flower that I'm coloring here, the center, the petals, I didn't like this color combo, so I decided to delete that part of the video so that way my video won't be so long. It was just too bright. So now I'm coloring the center. I'm mixing these two colors. I'm really not using any water. I just kind of want a variation of brown to dark brown. And so I'm moving on to the petals, and I always like to start with my lightest colors, same thing with watercolors. And as you can see here, I'm just putting a wash of that light color on this petal first. I'm going to do all the leaves the same way. Whoops, not a petal, sorry. I added some brown down the center, and now I'm just putting some green right on top of that. I'm not worrying about going around the brown or anything. And sometimes these zigs can work like a Copic marker where it does the work for you. So I'm really not using any water on the leaves here. I want a little bit more intense color and just kind of playing around and experimenting. And I like to finish trying to keep that sweet spot, a lighter spot on the petals there. Now I'm just coloring that bee super easy and going over the smile with the zig. It has a nice brush tip, so you can do that easily over the letters. And on the butterflies here, I'm just going to show you how I colored this one. I put down some color and then I used my brush to kind of wash that color out. So just play around, have fun, don't think too much about it. It always comes out in the end. So I'm coloring the edges of these butterflies here, and then I'm using some water to wash it out, soften it, and not make it so bright. So now there we go. So I've stamped another one of the sunflowers, just the sunflower itself, and I have a memento marker, and I'm just covering all of those white edges. And now I have a Copic marker, and I want to highlight the edges of that watercolor paper. I'm going to pop my flower on top of the stem. So I wanted those edges to look nice and finished. And now I've picked up my white gel pen. I always like to start on my finger. And I always have to add a white dot somewhere. That's kind of my trademark. So I'm adding, I know a sunflower doesn't have white dots, but I wanted to do it anyway. So I added those to the centers of the flowers, and now I'm adding one white swipe to each petal. It's really super easy. I'm doing just the left side on every petal. That takes the guesswork out, just doing the exact same thing, and it kind of brightens up the flower a little bit. What else? Oh, when you're using a white gel pen, always go slow and let it flow is what I like to say, and you get much better results. Now, sorry that my big thumb is in the way, but I have my Sharpie fine tip marker, and I'm adding a tiny black dot to every white dot that I did. And I think it just gives it that little bit of extra, and it softens the white dots as well. So I've picked up this glitter marker, and I'm just using it on one side of the petal, maybe a little bit in the middle, but I don't want to cover the entire petal. I just want a small, subtle accent on each petal. And you can kind of see there, it's just small, it's just subtle. That's the way I like to do it. And then here's my finished card. I just added some splatters once we watched a movie, and I came back and just finished that, and there you go, that's it. So thank you for watching, and have a great day. All right, bye.